What up, YouTube? Carter here. Got another knife video for you. This is on the Cold Steel AD-15, not 8015, but AD-15. This is based off of Andrew Demko's custom knife. He did it as a production knife through Cold Steel. I want to say about a year ago it first came out with green scales and a blasted lock, and this year they came out with an all-black version, and I gotta say I prefer this version. I think it looks really nice, which is why I've actually owned both, but I went ahead and picked this one up this year because I liked it so much I wanted it back in my collection. So let's do a quick talk about this knife. It's not going to be too long. All the specs are out there. But you have an S35 VN steel blade. So this is US steel, but it's put together in Taiwan. Same with a lot of the materials, I believe. Although don't quote me on that. It might just be the blade steel. So in other words, Cold Steel contracts with a US producer of steel, sends it out to Taiwan. They put the knife together. They do all the work on it. And then ship it back assembled, ready to be sold. I assume that they do all the blade grinding, all the finishing, things like that. We're simply supplying the US-made steel to them to put it together. Fit and finish on these Taiwan knives are excellent. Never had an issue with them. Perfectly centered. Plunge lines, grinds, everything is super nice, super beautiful, perfect. You've got the thumb studs there. G10 scales. I believe these are steel liners, although they could be aluminum. I can't quite remember. I believe this is a aluminum lock back here, which, you know, that is kind of the elephant in the room, is the scorpion lock. So Andrew Demko, he created the scorpion lock, and it's badass. And it was cool because you don't see a lot of new locks in the industry. So when this came out and he was showing his custom version of it, it was very confusing. Nobody was quite sure how it works. How do you unlock it? You know, is it going to remain locked? You know, how does it compare to the triad lock that Cold Steel's been using from him for so long? And a lot of these questions have been answered over the years, but my take on it is, you know, what you lose in the triad lock's indestructibility, you gain in usability. So it's a very easy lock to use, to disengage one-handed. It's also pretty cool because as you squeeze it when you're using it, you're putting more pressure directly on the lock bar and keeping it in place. You can see that channel right there. So this is definitely stronger than a traditional back-locking knife. But I would not say that this is as strong as the triad backlock knife, which may sound confusing if you're not familiar with either of those locks, but the triad lock is really unique in the way that it implements the backlock, and this here is dang near as good, but not quite. It's surprisingly light, you know, in your hand. It's surprisingly useful. It's nothing like the Formax, you know, the ridiculously heavy, can't even freaking carry knife. This is a very usable knife, a very carryable knife. It's still large. If we compare it to like a paramilitary 2, you can see it's longer than a paramilitary 2, obviously shorter than a military, heavier than both of these. So it's definitely, you know, not a particularly nimble knife, but it's not as over the top as some of Andrew's knives that he's done. So that's it. I would definitely recommend this. Pick it up. It's unique, but it's unique and functional. It isn't unique in a novelty way. It's very usable. It's very fun to play with, to flick around, open it up. You get better at it. I'm not doing so good on camera because I'm afraid of cutting my backdrop here, trying to keep it in camera. But yeah, very cool. Check it out. Cold Steel AD-15, designed by Mr. Andrew Demko himself. All right, guys, take care.